We have some breaking news impacting Sunday's Week 11 game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. I want to talk about a trade that the Niners did make that did pay off and what has happened to this player. A player who I want to talk about who got off to a good start this year, but over the last few weeks has been one of the worst players at his position in the National Football League. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day and supporting the channel. What if I told you that the 49ers were not the only team suffering from a rash of injuries so far during the 2025 campaign? Well, the Week 11 opponent for the Niners, as San Francisco hits the road to Arizona and the Cardinals, are also very banged up. And Arizona today is having a walkthrough when usually they have a normal practice. But they can't practice today because they are dealing with a bunch of injuries. So they are so banged up that they have to have a walkthrough and they can't hit the practice field. And this game is coming up in a few days on Sunday in a divisional game, NFC West battle between the Niners and Arizona. The 49ers and Arizona here are the two most injured teams in the National Football League. And I saw SF Data 49ers put out this chart on X, and this goes to show you the type of year that the Niners have had. Arizona too, but Arizona's franchise current status is a little bit different than the Niners, especially when you factor in how much money the Niners have paid to players who are currently on either injured reserve or they're out for the year. So the Niners have the most money tied to players who are on the non-football injury list, on injured reserve, not playing right now, out for the season. That is $107+ million for NFL reserve list cap hits for the Niners here. Meaning they're paying a bunch of money, the most money in the NFL, to players who are currently not playing this year and have missed time this year. Ian Rappaport, as far as some injury news for Arizona, to get specific here with this report a little bit earlier today, that wide receiver Marvin Harrison recently underwent surgery for an appendicitis. He is out this week against the Niners with the potential for additional weeks that he could miss on top of Sunday's game. Now, I know that Marvin Harrison Jr. last year as a rookie didn't play that well, and to start this year, he had a slow beginning to the 2025 season, and to me, it was mystifying a few weeks ago when he really wasn't doing much and how he struggled last year because he was one of the most dominant college football players that you'll ever see at Ohio State, and everybody thought that he was going to be a star. He might still end up being a star, but last year and to start this season, he wasn't that productive. I think we found out it was more of a Kyler Murray problem than a Marvin Harrison Jr. problem. He's caught touchdowns in each of the last couple of games, and he's really started to come on and turn it around. His numbers this year are actually pretty solid. 62 targets, 34 catches. So obviously the catch to target ratio isn't all that good, but I think that Jacoby Brissett, who's played the last couple of games for Arizona, is the better pocket passer, and that's why the Cardinals' passing game has been better. In turn, that's why Marvin Harrison Jr. has played better, and I think he's found his confidence too in the process. So he's putting together a pretty solid season, but he's going to be out against this Niners back seven, which was terrible against the Rams. He's not the only wide receiver who's going to be out for this game. He's the Cardinals' number one. Zay Jones is their number two. He suffered an Achilles injury on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. So he's also going to miss this game and most likely obviously going to miss the rest of the year given the severity of that injury. Where do the Cardinals turn from here? They are going to target, and Jacoby Brissett will target, Trey McBride a lot. We've known over the last couple of years that this is a player who has solidified himself as one of the best tight ends in football. Prior to George Kittle getting his contract extension earlier this offseason, McBride for a moment there became the highest paid tight end in the National Football League at $19 million per season. And what happened to the Niners against the Rams on Sunday? They could not cover tight ends. So much so that Sean McVay was running 3 and 2 tight end sets pretty often against this Niners defense on Sunday. And this Niners linebacking core, outside of Tatum Bethune, and he's not really a great coverage guy, has not done a good job of locking down tight ends this season. So I expect Trey McBride to get targeted often, targeted a lot, and he could put together a really big game. His numbers so far this season, right up there with some of the best tight ends in football. Such a gifted pass catcher. 88 targets, 61 catches, 603 yards, 9.9 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. He is a seam stretcher. He can get vertical. He can pick up yards after the catch. You target him in the flat, he's hard to break down. Just an all-around stud. Which brings me to this, a player who could be guarding and defending Trey McBride. Dee Winters. What has happened to Dee Winters? Last year, he had the 5th highest coverage grade among all linebackers in football, albeit a small sample size because he didn't play that much. But when he did play, I thought he played some pretty impressive football. To start this season, in the early portion of it, Dee Winters was playing very well. But over the last several weeks, he's flatlined. He's plummeted. And he has been one of the worst linebackers in the National Football League. Look at his numbers here in 2025 that Coach Yak put together on X. 5 touchdowns given up, most in the NFL. 51 catches allowed, most in the NFL. 3 penalties, tied for most among backers in the NFL. He's given up 368 receiving yards, 7th most in the NFL. A 118.2 passer rating when targeted, not good. And this year he has a coverage grade of 50.6. And there are a couple of ways that I think this Niners team can improve their defense, and it comes down to personnel. Perhaps benching Dee Winters to play Nick Martin a little bit more. Nick Martin has the play speed of Dee. He was a 3rd-round pick. Dee Winters a late-round pick. Both struggle at times with being overly aggressive, and sometimes they over-pursue plays because they can't throttle down, and their processing is just moving a little bit too fast. But I think that Martin can be better as a blitzer and has more potential, obviously, in coverage. Play him more. The fact that he's not getting snaps ahead of a struggling Dee Winters and a player in Luke Gifford, who's a career special teamer, I don't know what's going on. The Niners don't trust him, or they're fearful of him making mistakes, but they'll live and die with Upton Stout making a bunch of mistakes. If you didn't make a move at the NFL trade deadline because you wanted to keep your picks for the future and build for the future, why not build for the future by playing your young players? That also includes playing Sebastian Valdez at defensive tackle. We know who Jordan Elliott is. An okay player who's a good run stopper, can't really rush after the quarterback. Sebastian Valdez has a bunch of physical upside. His nickname is the Hulk. I mean, come on now. And I thought throughout the preseason, he played very violently. And then another move that I would make personnel-wise, play Marquise Eagle at safety. I mean, he was the day 1 starter at the safety spot, has 4.3 speed, has made some really good plays against the run. No doubt he's had some lapses in coverage. But I think the thing with Siegel, obviously he gave up some explosive plays downfield, and at times the coverage wasn't close. But there were other times where he was in a position to make a play, he just couldn't finish on those plays. Well, how do these players get better? How do these players develop? How does a player like Marquise Siegel improve upon some of his deficiencies and his misses? By getting reps. So I'd like to see the Niners moving forward perhaps make some of these personnel changes on defense. If you're enjoying today's San Francisco 49ers report, you like what I do, you like what the channel does, give me a real one down in the comment section. I want to hear from all of the real ones right now. Still to come here on the show, a trade that the Niners did make that has paid off so far for a player who I want to see more of moving forward as the season progresses. Let's get to our sponsor, though, our friends at Omaha Steaks, making today's San Francisco 49ers report possible. There's no offseason for flavor with Heartland, quality food delivered right to your door. I'm a really busy guy. Sometimes I don't have time to go to the grocery store because I'm too busy making Niners content. And so Omaha Steaks is so convenient, and they just deliver a bunch of high-quality meats right to my doorstep. Omaha Steaks is the official sponsor of tailgating, delivering legendary flavor that makes game day unforgettable. Enjoy grass-fed, grain-finished, extra-aged, USDA-certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, delectable desserts, and more game day favorites like wings and deli-style franks. They also have some Philly cheesesteaks. Gotta love that. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood. Make game day delicious with the official sponsor of tailgating. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off when you use our promo code 49ers at checkout. That is promo code 49ers at checkout for $35 off at omahasteaks.com. Very easy. Omaha Steaks. I love their filet mignons. I love their chicken, their salmon, everything that they have to offer. And we have a can't-miss deal for all of the faithful when you use that code 49ers. All right, let's get to the back half of the show. The Brian Robinson trade early in the year didn't yield a lot of results for San Francisco's offense because Kyle Shanahan didn't play B-Rob a lot. But over the last couple of weeks, he's gotten more carries. And he's given this Niners offense a really physical element in that backfield, something that this struggling Niners rushing game has really needed. In the last two games, Robinson had 5 carries against the Giants for 53 yards, averaging 10.6 yards per carry, and had that truck stick angry run for a touchdown. Against the Los Angeles Rams, his carries went up to 8. He accumulated 42 yards, good for 5.1 yards per tote, and once again had that bulldozing touchdown run. I want to see more of Brian Robinson. He offers a great switch up from Christian McCaffrey. It's not taking anything away from CMC. He's top 10 in receiving yards this year. He's 13th in the NFL in rushing yards. I don't think that he's cooked by any means, but I'd like to see him healthy toward the end of the year given all of the injury problems that he's had. And I just think that Brian Robinson is a dynamic weapon in that backfield. And San Francisco has struggled to run the ball behind this mediocre pedestrian offensive line. Sometimes you need a physical back with the struggling offensive line to pick up some positive yardage on the ground. A knock for B-Rob in Washington was that he was a physical freak, big, and physically imposing, right? But didn't run hard. That's not been a problem at all when he's been with the Niners. And that's a credit to Kyle Shanahan, Bobby Turner, and this scheme for bringing the best out of him. And you look at some of the in-depth numbers here. He's averaging 3.55 yards after contact. That's 9th in the NFL. McCaffrey is at 2.39 yards after contact. Now, CMC is top 10 among running backs in missed tackles forced, 28 of them on 180 carries. But B-Rob, the percentage here is really impressive. 13 missed tackles forced on just 49 carries. So I want to see Kyle Shanahan go with more 21 and 22 personnel with CMC and Brian Robinson on the field. You go heavy with juice at times. You go heavy with a couple of tight ends. And that can be a way to find success on the ground. And when this offense finds success on the ground, the pass game opens up. And that's when this Niners offense is at its best. Don't forget to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior, approaching 19,000 followers on X, 42,000 followers on IG. I'm always talking Niners here. We're reaching 3 million people a month here on the show during the football season. But for additional content, you can give me a shout and give me a follow over there as well.